Power meter pedals have exploded in popularity in recent years as they're generally very easy to use, can be fitted to any bike and don't require anything complicated like swapping your bike's bottom bracket system. But which is the best power meter pedal system? In this video, I'm going to go through all of the advantages and disadvantages of the 3 major power meter pedal systems available today, and then I'll give you my expert opinion on which is the best and why. The 3 systems we have are the Garmin Rally RS200, Favero Assioma Duo, and the Wahoo Powrlink Zero. I've tested all 3 systems on a long-term basis, collected hundreds of hours worth of data and serviced them all myself wherever possible. While this video is going to be fairly in-depth, if you want even more detail, you can read all of my full reviews of each system by heading to BikeRadar.com or by following the links in the video description below. But before we get into the nitty-gritty details, a quick reminder to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Let's start with pricing, spec, and how easy it is to get the pedals on your bike. Given all of the various options available, this is a little bit complicated. So to make everything easier, I've just put everything in a table and we're going to put that up on screen now. So feel free to pause the video if you want to. The main takeaway from all of this though is that the Favero Assioma system is generally the cheapest, Wahoo's Powrlink Zero system sits in the middle, and the Garmin Rally system is the most expensive. I'm just going off of RRPs here, so it is possible you'll be able to find some or even all of these slightly cheaper online or in your local bike shop, but generally the pattern should remain the same. In terms of weight and how easy it is to install the pedals on your bike, it's all pretty even. The Wahoo pedals are the lightest if you're only counting the pedal bodies, but it's actually the heaviest system once you take into account the cleats and mounting hardware. Now, if you refer back to the table we just showed, we're only talking about 30 to 40 grams here, so it isn't something that affects performance. Installation is super easy with all 3 systems. The Wahoo and Favero pedals use an 8mm Allen wrench, and the Garmin pedals use a standard 15mm pedal spanner. Strictly speaking, it is a good idea to use a torque wrench to tighten them up to exactly the right spec, and that is what I do when collecting data to compare power meters for review purposes, but you can generally get away without one for normal use. I found that as long as you do them up nice and tight and then do a few sprints to settle them in, you won't have any problems. So overall then, when it comes to price, I think the Favero system takes a clear win. Now beyond price and weight, another of the main differences comes in the form of the pedal body options that are available. For the Wahoo Powrlink Zero pedals, you just get the one pedal body option, and for some people that is going to be the selling point. As long-time cycling fans will probably already know, Wahoo's power meter pedal uses the SpeedPlay pedal platform. It's a road-specific pedal which offers dual-sided entry and exit as well as 15 degrees of freely adjustable float. If you're an existing fan of the SpeedPlay pedal system, then you'll be happy to hear that there's essentially no compromises made to create the Powrlink Zero pedals. They function just like any other SpeedPlay pedal. Now, as a long-time user of Keo and Shimano SPD-SL pedals, I personally didn't really get on with the SpeedPlay system. Although the extra adjustability is great, I personally found them quite tricky to clip into, plus they're relatively complicated, and while the cleats are more durable, they're also vastly more expensive. But I am aware many cyclists really do love SpeedPlay pedals, so a lot of that does come down to personal preference. With Favero Assioma pedals, the standard pedal body choice is Keo. There's also an option to buy Assioma power meter spindles which are compatible with Shimano SPD-SL pedal bodies. But that combination comes with a fairly significant compromise of adding an extra 11mm to the Q factor. Of course, if you don't mind that, then great, but I think it's better to just make the switch to Keo cleats and go with the standard Assioma Duo pedals, as there's very little trade-off for this. Now, unofficially, it is possible to swap the Favero road pedal bodies out for XPedo or Shimano SPD off-road pedal bodies, depending on which spindles you have. However, you probably won't be covered under warranty if you damage an Assioma power meter spindle by using it off-road, so just be careful. The Garmin Rally system is the one with the most official options. You can have Keo, Shimano SPD-SL or Shimano SPD pedal bodies, or you can buy the pedal bodies separately and swap the power meter spindles between them as and when you like without compromise. The only catch is that the prices for those extra pedal bodies, which Garmin calls conversion kits, start at just under £180 and go up to £220 depending on which pedal bodies you're purchasing. I think it's also fair to say that the Garmin Rally system is by far the cleanest looking of them all too. There's no pods on the spindles and everything is housed within what looks essentially like a normal road pedal. Now, this doesn't really affect performance, but it is nevertheless very impressive, and if looks matter to you, then it is something to consider. So overall then, I think the Garmin Rally system is the winner in terms of pedal body options, but if you have a kink for speed play, then that's obviously going to be a factor for you. As with any power meter, knowing it can reliably produce accurate and consistent data is crucial. There's no point spending any amount of money on a power meter which doesn't deliver that basic feature. Fortunately, all three of these systems offer excellent data accuracy. They're all rated to plus or minus 1% accuracy, meaning they promise to measure your power output with an error margin of only 1% either side of the true figure. As far as the rest of the market goes, that's actually up there with the best. Of course, that is just a claim, but I've logged hundreds of hours of riding and testing across these three sets of pedals, comparing the data from each to other benchmark power meters and smart trainers, and all have put in practically flawless performances from a data accuracy point of view. If you want to see the evidence for this, you can see examples of power meter comparison graphs in my full reviews on BikeRadar.com, or you can click the links in the video descriptions below. The only point worth noting is that sudden large temperature swings like you typically get when taking your bike from indoors to outdoors on a cold day can trip up the Garmin and Wahoo pedals and cause them to read slightly inaccurately. However, once you do a manual zero offset, everything falls back into place and the active temperature compensation on both systems can account for any gradual temperature changes from there. In my experience, the Favero pedals do seem to be able to handle these types of situations slightly better, but to be honest, I'll pretty much always zero offset any power meter at the beginning of a ride anyway, so I don't think it's a deal breaker. In terms of available data, there is a small difference here too. With the Wahoo Powrlink pedals, you just get power and cadence data, that's it. With the Favero and the Garmin pedals, you do get some extra data points, namely pedal smoothness and torque efficiency, and just on the Garmin pedals, you also get platform center offset. Now, these are advanced power meter metrics, which probably aren't all that useful to most people, but they are nice to have if you're interested in doing specific training to improve your pedal stroke. So in terms of power data and accuracy then, all three offer accurate data, but the Favero and the Garmin pedals probably just edge it with their extra available metrics. When it comes to battery life, there are some bigger differences on paper. Garmin's Rally system trounces the other two systems with a whopping 120 hours of battery life, but it uses disposable coin cell batteries, so every time those run out, you'll need to buy another set to replace them. The Wahoo pedals sit in the middle with 75 hours of battery life, and then the Faveros come in last with 50 hours. Both of those systems use internal rechargeable batteries, so they can be topped up whenever you like. Now in practice, I don't have any issues with battery life on any of these systems, and for me it wouldn't be a major consideration when it comes to making a purchase. While the Favero's battery life is technically the shortest, you still get a month's battery life out of them, even if you're riding over 10 hours a week. That said, your mileage may vary of course, and if you train like a World Tour Pro, then maybe it would be something that you'd consider. So the winner in terms of battery life then is the Garmin Rally, but only if you don't mind replaceable coin cell batteries. Now I've had all of these pedal systems for a while now, and all three seem to be very durable. I don't race crits anymore, and I generally do look after my kit, but I'm pretty confident in saying that all three systems will stand up well to long-term use. In terms of serviceability, there are actually some important differences however. The Favero and the Garmin pedals can both be disassembled for cleaning and greasing fairly easily, or if you need to replace a pedal body after a crash. I'd say it's marginally easier to do with the Favero pedals, as the Garmin pedals contain a couple of tiny screws which are a little bit fiddly, but I'm definitely not a professional mechanic and I've had no trouble taking them apart and putting them back together again at home. With the Favero pedals, you can also replace the mini cartridge bearings yourself if you need to, with Favero selling a kit with the replacement parts for just under €33. The bearings pop in and out very easily once the pedal body is removed from the spindle. With the Garmin Rally pedals though, the bearings are actually built into the pedal body and aren't removable. Now they're well sealed and you can clean everything out and apply fresh grease yourself to keep them running smoothly, but if the bearings do somehow eventually get knackered, you'll either need to send the pedal bodies back to Garmin for servicing or buy a conversion kit to get replacement pedal bodies. As mentioned earlier, prices for those start at around £180, so it isn't a particularly cheap option. The Wahoo pedals, meanwhile, are not user serviceable at all. Instead, they use triple seal bearings which have a claimed service life of around 7 to 10 years. On the one hand, that's great if you get 7 to 10 years of maintenance-free use, but on the other, if you do have a problem, say the bearings start to get dry or you simply want to add fresh grease to them, then there's nothing that you can personally do about it unless you don't mind voiding your warranty. Instead, if you have any problems, you'll have to get in touch with Wahoo and they'll ask you to ship the pedals back to them or drop them off at a dealer so that the issue can be fixed by an official service partner. So in terms of serviceability then, I'd say the winner is the Favero, but the Garmin's are also pretty decent too. So, which power meter pedal system do I think is the best? Let's just get it out of the way and say that all three systems are excellent, reliable power meter options. If you own one of these, then you're already a winner, baby. While the Wahoo Powrlink Zero is a great power meter pedal if you really want to use the SpeedPlay pedal system, it isn't what I'd choose if that isn't a major consideration for you. That partly stems from the fact that I didn't really love the SpeedPlay system, but I also just think there are cheaper or more versatile options available if you're agnostic about the pedal body and cleat choice. If we were ignoring price, then Garmin's Rally system would be the clear winner. It has by far the cleanest looks of all the systems. You can swap the pedal bodies around between road and off-road versions, and there are essentially no obvious compromises to it in terms of pure performance. However, this is the real world and we're not ignoring price. And given that, I think the best power meter pedal system available today is the Favero Assioma Duo. Might be a little less pretty than the Garmin Rally system, but it offers essentially the same performance for a lot less money. I switched over to Look Clio cleats from SPDSL cleats around 18 months ago as part of my original review for these pedals, and while those cleats don't have quite the same adjustment range as SPDSL cleats, there's next to no difference in performance otherwise, and I've stuck with them ever since. I'm also someone whose riding is predominantly road-based, so I don't have a huge need for seamlessly swapping in an off-road pedal body. If you're a gravelista or a cross-country whippet, then that might tip the balance for you in favour of the Garmin Rally system. So there you have it, my thoughts on the best power meter pedal systems available today. As mentioned earlier, if you'd like to read my full, in-depth reviews of each system, you can head to BikeRadar.com or follow the links in the video description below. But what do you think? Did my choice surprise you? As always, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you haven't already, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and click the little bell icon so that every time we upload a new video, you'll get a notification.